Osiyo. It's how we say hello in Cherokee. I'm your host, Jennifer Lauren, at Dwight Mission Historic Site near Marble City, Oklahoma, a former boarding school for Cherokee children. The community that formed around Dwight Mission shares a deep-rooted history, and today we'll see how this property's legacy affected one Cherokee Nation citizen raised nearby. Mildred Taylor is a pillar in this unique community, striving to preserve her Cherokee family history. As you'll see, people look to Mildred as a person who consistently brings this community together.
I've known Mildred my whole life. She's been a mentor to me forever.
Someone's doing a good job with that face painting.
Anytime somebody wants to know anything about Marble City, let me call Mildred. She's the local historian to everything. Anything to do with Marble, Dwight Mission, Flute Springs, Mildred is the go-to.
For a community to thrive, people have to get along and they have to work together. When you belong to a community and you know all your neighbors, and even if you don't have a lot of contact with them, you know they're there, and they're going to be there for you if you do need them, just like you're going to be there for them when they need you. I'm Mildred Taylor. I was born and raised here in the Dwight Mission community in Sequoyah County, Oklahoma. I've been here my entire life. I was born in the house that my great-grandparents built with their Cherokee strip money. I live on my great-grandmother's Cherokee allotment. Well, that Granny Jane, she was the dominating force in our family. I think that's typical Native. The women are the heads of the household. I'm definitely the head of my household. I've not been successful at marriage. And I just always knew that if the head of my household couldn't be we, it was going to be me. So I've been very happy for the last 45 years as a single woman. And I think I am strong enough to survive, and I've tried to teach my daughter and my granddaughters, you stand up, you be strong. Be independent. And grandchildren, some of them I have been fortunate enough to be part of their lives and taught, and then I'm passing this on to great-grandchildren. So most of my great-grandchildren I've been in the kitchen with at least once, and some of them their whole lives. When I got married at the grand old age of 15, I not only didn't know how to boil water, I didn't know how to turn the burner on the stove. But once my mother-in-law taught me and I produced a full meal, I was hooked. I just learned to love to cook, and been doing it ever since. Take your skillet and set it over there by your onions. We're just getting ready.
I am Ben Morris. I am the great-grandson of Mildred Taylor. Me and my great-grandma has been making my Halloween costumes for maybe 6 years, like half a decade or so, which is always really fun. It's usually DC or Marvel. My favorite is my Scarecrow costume, which we made the coat, the pants, and a little backpack and mask for me. It looked really cool. My latest is a Dr. Doom costume, where we made the armor and the hood and cape together. It was also very cool. She is really good at sewing and making quilts. She helped me with my first quilt I have behind me, and she put it into a quilt contest, and it ended up getting second. My mom got first. I quilt, my mom quilts, and my great-grandmother quilts, and we all three quilt together sometimes.
Well, I quilt because it's soothing It's like meditation. I can sit here and think about all kinds of things, or I can sit here and think about nothing. I can talk to them, or I don't have to talk to them. And at the end of the day, I'm tired of sitting in this chair and my hand is cramping, my left hand is cramping, and my fingers are hurting, but I feel so good. I'm so rested, and I'm just ready to take on the next 6 days of what I do elsewhere. But most of the quilts that have come out of these frames this last few years has won awards in some quilt shows somewhere. The dahlia, the giant dahlia in purple, I entered it in the Cherokee Nation Holiday Quilt Show. It won the Principal Chief's Choice Award, which I was thrilled about, but I was just as thrilled about it winning first place in the judges contest. So it was my very first blue ribbon from a judge.
Mildred is like the pillar of the community, not just the town, but the whole community. She is the mentor that I would want to be when I'm her age, that I strive to be a Mildred.
We are in the Dwight Mission Cemetery. It is the oldest organized burial ground in the state of Oklahoma. The first burial was a missionary they arrived here in April of 1829. Their first missionary passed away in June of 1829, and he's buried just up the hill. Everything in my mind goes back to education when I think of Dwight Mission. That was the reason it was established, and that for the first 120 years, it educated Cherokee kids. The school ended when I was a really small child, and I just have stories that people have told me, former students. It was a boarding school, so the missionaries went out and persuaded parents to send their kids. Well, when you're a little child and you don't speak English and you are removed from your way of life into one that is totally different and so strict, so many rules, you don't want to be there. The one story that I was told by a man who lived across the road from Dwight Mission, he was born in 1919, and he lived there his entire 93 years. He said that when school would turn out and the kids would be going from the classroom back to the dorm, he said they'd break and run, because if they knew, or they felt like if they could get to the creek or if they could get to the railroad track, they could find home. And so the missionaries, the staff at Dwight Mission, would chase them down horseback and bring them back. And he watched that from up on the hill. It had to be horrible for these babies, these small children. But I can just imagine the homesickness and the desire and wanting to see mama, and they had to be so miserable. And but they still had to get up the next morning, go back to class and go to church and abide by all the rules. They had to help with the laundry, they had to help in the garden, they had to milk the cows. And then the next day was the same, with them dying to be with family. When I learned that Dwight Mission was up for grabs, I was afraid that it might go into someone's hands that would doze everything down and build some big corporate something. But once it was safely in the hands of the Cherokee Nation, it's in their hands now. I'm happy. So whatever they do will be okay, because I know that it's going to be safe. And I'm hoping that education still plays a big part in what they in their plans for the future for Dwight Mission. The Cherokees have got that darkness in our past as a tribe. And we don't want to forget, everyone has darkness in their past. And I call it darkness. I'm talking about bad times, hard times, tragic, events. But if you live there, it will take over your life. So I choose not to live there. I get up every morning, I get dressed, and I move forward. It is important that my kids have it better than I did. My grandkids have it better than my kids. That was a decision I made, when I retired and I decided to start doing volunteer work. I just decided that I'm going to do something for someone every single day.